Hi there, this is Mark, and I'm coming to you from Umpqua Bank here in the conference room that I get to use for today. And I'm doing my reading from the Golden Present. These are the daily inspirational readings by Swami Satchidananda. And I'm reading these every day for 365 days. It started on December 21st. And thanks for watching. And I share these by just opening the book and looking at the date and then reading and sharing in the moment. So today's February 16th. The heading is If You Can Help, the heading says, If You Can, Help Them. And this is in a question and response format, so someone asks a question to Swami Satchidananda. How can one see oneself in someone who is nasty and violent? How can one see oneself in someone who is nasty and violent? Swami Satchidananda says, think that once you too might have been like that. Now you have become a nice person. He or she will also grow that way. Give people time. Don't think we were all born saints and yogis. Every grown-up once crawled. Today's sinner is tomorrow's saint. Be sympathetic. Don't dislike such people. If you can, help them. If not, at least don't hate them. By being nasty and violent, they might even learn some good lessons. They will change one day. We have no right to condemn anybody. Think to yourself, yes, I could have been like this. I could have been like that at one time. Or, I should not be like that. This person has performed a great service by clearly showing me what to avoid in myself. There is always a positive way of looking at things. I'm surprised at these readings, how, again, this book was written. When was this all collected? These are thoughts by Swami Satchidananda, and the first printing was in 1987. And Swami, through Integral Yoga, gathered all of these writings, and I believe she just made the order with all the collection of these different writings and question answers from Swami Satchidananda. So I'm just, it's just kind of wild how this would land at this time when I'm choosing to do these, and it just feels very usable, pertinent for what's happening right now, and at the same time it causes me to question how I really feel about this reading. The reading is basically saying that it trusts that everybody has the ability to grow and become a better person, that everybody can learn from lessons and evolve. I think that some of us might be thinking that that's not possible, that there are some people that, either that they're just a bad seed and there's just no hope for them changing, or they're so ingrained and invested in the way that they are being in the world that it would really be nearly impossible, if not seemingly impossible, for there to be the kind of change that we may want to see. But yet this is actually exactly the practice that I've been using, is to look at myself. Where have I been filled with hate? Where have I wanted to divide from what someone gets and what I get? Where have I wanted to not allow someone's trust to be taken in? Where have I violated someone's boundary? So it just, it ends up being something that's just been part of my practice for a while, which is to use the drama of the outside world to be something that I reflect on in my inside world, to recognize I too have been there. I was on the train this morning, and there's a really busy crowd of people, busy morning, And there was a guy that had on headphones, and he was just having a good old time listening to his music, tapping his foot on the floor, and just really enjoying the song. And then there's a guy right next to him who looked at him with kind of annoyance, and he just sort of glanced at him, kind of had this look in his face. The guy listening to music was oblivious, and then the guy that was annoyed looked away. Then he looked at him again with that same kind of look. The guy was oblivious. And then I looked at the guy who seemed annoyed, and I recognized myself in him, in that there have been times when someone else's kind of like they're just in their own little world and they're just oblivious to everyone else, that has perturbed me. That has been frustrating for me to think, why aren't they aware of everybody else in this space? Or someone who litters, for example. How can they just do that and not think that it's actually bothering somebody else or impacting the environment? And I can get annoyed and frustrated by a certain thing like that. And so I just had kind of a gentle smile on my face, and I didn't intentionally look at the man, but at one moment we did kind of make eye contact, and there was just that signal of humanity, of, I understand, and also just kind of having that sense of reflection and understanding, I think helped him be in a different space as well, to unlock from that relationship of being annoyed and to be able to feel like he's able to get a different perspective. So little examples like that, I really notice them and I look out for them. Even seeing somebody who is on the streets, they're living on the streets, I think about a close person in my life who was living on the streets for a while. And then I even think about a number of years ago when I ran away from home, and I was actually living on the streets for a couple of weeks. I was 16 years old, and actually today is the day that I came back home all those years ago, and it just is a significant reminder for me about a time in my life where things were very different, and that I may come across and see someone else. I have no idea where they are in their life or what's happened, how far off of a path that they feel like they may have gotten that was once helping guide them to become their highest self, and how that act of kindness and openness seems like a better option to start with, rather than to judge and to make assumptions that they're a bad seed from at the core. Maybe something happened there that triggered a response for them to go in a certain direction. And I'm grateful that what happened in my case is that actually triggered my spiritual journey back then, and that helped me start to really think about life and look at the world in a different way. That was actually a deep yearning in me to want to go beyond what I was experiencing as my reality, because I knew in my heart and my gut that there was something greater, and I wasn't able to see it in the world I was living in at that time, and I desperately needed to see it and go out. And I'm also very grateful that somebody helped me in that time in my life when I didn't have all the tools and resources to be able to pull all this together, that I had somebody who helped me be able to understand how I can come back to the life that I had and start to look at everything differently. And that didn't really blossom until a little bit later in life, but those were the seeds. So I want to be conscious of the seeds in others and how they're watered, and if I might be able to participate in how some of that is offered to someone that I know, that creating that vibration of hatred, annoyance, disapproval, that I think I know better and all that. I'm not always sure that that's going to bring as much benefit as the benefit of openness and bringing in the idea of, I don't know, their whole story, and maybe I need to learn more, and some of that learning might actually be looking inside at my own story and first reflecting on how does that happen and how can I relate to that in my own experience to then be able to bring that back out, which is greatly part of the practice of, taking what I've learned off the mat and into the world. So off the yoga mat and into the world and yoga as action. All right, well, yeah, if you can, help them. If you can, help them. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.